Unleashing Her. I am Starla, and I am the creatress of Unleashing Her. For any of you who don't know me, definitely going to be going live more here, more often in the next couple weeks, so I can get used to this face and this voice because I have a lot to say. And I have been saying a lot over the past few years. And so I kind of want to share some stories and talk to you a little bit about what I see happening and how I think you can really serve the truth right now, okay? So on this page are over 1,100 badass warrior queens. And I know this because I have been very selective about who is invited and who is allowed to see all of the content that is on this page. And I have shared my utmost truth. I have been belligerent and obnoxious in many cases with sharing the things that I find to be important. And a lot of those are controversial, and I respect every woman who is still here. Whether you agree or not isn't even the point, but you stayed here for it and you showed up, and I can't thank you enough. So I'm speaking out to all of you. I'm speaking out to all of you warrior women who are watching what's happening in the world, and you are witnessing the friends and the family and the people on Facebook and their responses. And it's a little bit overwhelming, right? There's a lot of comments about stupidity and people being morons and all of that. And I, like right here, I'm kind of like in that camp, okay? Like I really believe that people are truly moronic. They don't think for themselves. They have an incapacity to be wrong, to admit when they're wrong. It's pretty bewildering, to be honest. So in sharing a few stories about my Jedi training, I think that it could potentially be helpful for some of you facing off with all of that. In like 2006, I would say, the doors were just kind of taken off. There was no more ability for me to deny the things that I was seeing or noticing or witnessing with my own two eyes. I was sort of over being gaslit into believing that the government and the media and all of the things they say are true. I was kind of shattered from 9/11. And I knew again then we were not told the whole truth. The official narrative, the official story is not in accordance with physics law. And that's all I'm going to get into about that. So the national narrative of what people believe across the board, minus 30% or so Americans who know what happened, they believe that the government had their best interests and that these were terrorists, and they believe that same narrative that they were fed. But that actual narrative, when put into a court of law, has facts in there that do not align with physics law. Okay? So there's something wrong there. And the people of America have never done the families of those victims that day the justice they deserve by asking the questions that they needed to be asking. Why is that possible? How is that possible? Wait, hold on. But we don't do that. So why? Why don't we do that? Why is it so hard, right? Well, I've been a bartender for over 20 years. I've worked with the public. I've worked in Las Vegas for 2 years. I worked in Los Angeles, all over Los Angeles for 8 years. I've worked in consulting and bar management. I've done a lot of different things. But in 2008, I was asking Goddess, like, there's got to be a bigger purpose for my life. It cannot be bartending, right? There's got to be something else that I can do that will be of greater service to people. And I would pray, and I would pray, and I would pray. And every night I would go to work in one of the busiest casinos on the Las Vegas Strip, in one of the fine dining restaurants there. And many nights, over and over, I would have 25 seats, and they would rotate every 2 or 3 hours. So I'd get about 100 people or so that I'd be taking care of on a nightly basis. And I can tell you that about 2 or 3 of them would be willing to truly engage with me on conspiracy theories or politics or things that were going on. They were always willing to sort of like give me the like, oh yeah, like I'm a Republican. But people who really wanted to like get underneath all of that, right? So there was this one night when I'm feeling desperate, I'm feeling like I should certainly be doing something more with my life than talking conspiracy theories at bars with people and, you know, trying to wake up the masses in this way. There must be a much bigger, more grand way for me to do this work. And so this gentleman sits down, and he's, you know, clearly a very successful gentleman. He was a CEO of a company in New York, and he'd come from nothing, and in the beginning is sharing with me his story about how successful he had become and why. And it was really, really empowering, like really, really powerful. And then proceeded to get drunk, right? Because he's drinking and I'm serving him. And of course I'm making love to all of these cocktails, and I'm praying for an open mind, and I'm praying for all of these like good vibes to enter into this man. And so slowly he begins to unfold in front of me, and he's bragging. Oh, I give to charity, you know, because he can see what kind of person I am. I give to charity, you know, I donate all kinds of money to charity. And he's just continuing to boost his own ego in this way. And I would just be like, oh yeah, and I'd go help somebody else. So I'd like, great, you know, and I would go do another thing. I just wasn't feeding his ego, and he couldn't stand it, and he didn't understand it. He was waiting for the big round of applause, like, oh my gosh, you give money to charity, that's so good of you. That's not what I gave him. I gave him the truth. And so he got very uncomfortable, and he's shifting in his seat, and well, so I don't understand. Like, so you just think that it's not good to give money to charities? I mean, like, what, you don't think that's a good idea? You don't think that's what people should be doing with their money? And I said to him, do you want the truth? And he said, well, yeah. I said, okay. The truth is, you are a very successful man. You came from nothing. You built this incredible company worth all this money, and you did it with nothing, on your own, with a backbone and will. And I'm wondering what your gift would have truly been had you taken it into a school with young boys and talked to them, troubled youth, and told them your story. Or went out and read books to children in the library and then shared your story afterward that met up with that book. That's true charity. That's true giving of your time and your resources in that way, not just throwing money at a charity because you think that somebody's going to do the right thing with it. It's a lazy thing to do, actually. It's an incredibly pretentious way of offering services to a thing that you don't even know for sure if it's serving. So he, you know, of course got angry. And, you know, this conversation went on for 4 hours to give you a time span. And before he got up and he left, he did me a huge favor. And he returned the gift. Then he leaned back in his seat and he undid his tie. And he unbuttoned the top 2 buttons on his shirt. And he said to me, if I would have had anyone tell me before that I was going to come to Las Vegas and I was going to sit down at a bar and I was going to have a bartender change the way I see life, I would have told them they were a liar. I would have probably gotten into a fight with them. But honestly, I can't thank you enough. You have completely changed my perspective. I see now what you are saying. I see how I can be more beneficial. We left with a big hug. But the gift that he really gave me was that he allowed me to see that I was doing Goddess's work from right where I was. It was kind of like I was a hub, right? So like Oprah's a hub of networking and information, and things come at her and things go back out, and she is a wonderful person for creating that hub of networking. And for me, I was in the hub. I was in a very influential place and space to present things to people in a way that they could receive it. I was influencing their energetic field with the liquid that I was serving them, and I was using my words and my truth to influence them and to change who they were. And for some people, it really was planting a new idea, planting the seed into the soil. And for some people, I was cheerleading for and being like, yeah, can you believe that? Can you believe that they did that? Or can you believe people don't see that? And I affirmed them and I validated them and I watered the flower. And then those people went back to wherever they came from because they were just visiting in Las Vegas and they came from all over the world. So they were going back to Ohio, to China, to New York, to Italy. And from there, I was able to see how I truly was influencing the world. People were coming to me and sharing new ideas with me, and then I would go down the bar and share it with somebody else. And it was person to person. It was face to face. It was in the moment. And we weren't able to hide behind our screens and our televisions and our ideas and beliefs because we had a real human being in front of us who was expressing their hearts and their minds. And of course I got assholes. And in the beginning I would try to are you sure? Here's another fact for you. Here's another point. Yeah, let's go to battle. I would do that. But I saw I was wasting my time and energy. Because those people were never going to get it. In fact, the ones I pushed the hardest closed the door the tightest. People can only receive things. They can only receive the truth from where they are. It does not matter where you are or how much you know or what you think is right. It is really good to have a moral compass and a good sense of community and a good sense of self in order to engage in dialogue and conversations with others to influence them. It is more important, though, that you find out who it is that you're talking to. Where do they come from? Do you think that I got into 9/11 conversations with people who were ex-Marines, who were very certain about Bush or Donald Trump? No, because that's not where my work was. And I began to see that the real work was always being put right there in front of me. It was always the next person at the bar who was willing to have that conversation or who had already opened up the door wide for me to step into to really allow them to just flourish and blossom in front of my eyes, their truth. But if I took that away from them by jumping in the way and telling them no, but I know, then they wouldn't even have had the opportunity to truly blossom, to see that for themselves. And that's where the power is at. The power lies when we can truly see the truth for ourselves. Not from a guru, not from a book, not from a government, not from like a teacher or a saint or a priest or a pope or anybody. They cannot give you your truth. You cannot give someone their truth. So what I offer you today is a little bit of insight on my own journey of being a truth teller and how I have worked in the last 15 years to truly wake up people. I've done it in many, many, many ways. But the thing that's truly worked and the thing that's truly gotten into people is by establishing a connection and a relationship first. People only want to have a conversation or take advice from or engage with somebody that they trust. If you discredit them or you demean them or you throw them under the bus, they're not ever going to hear you. It's really, really good to know your audience. Okay? If you've got a bunch of people who believe that God is a man and Trump is a good guy, it doesn't mean that that you can't have a conversation with them. It doesn't mean that you are wasting your time if you engage with them. But know your audience. Don't go in there swinging the left bat, talking about all the things that make you a good person, but start asking questions. Find out what is their struggle. Find out what are their issues, because they have them. Every American is going through something. So you could find a place to relate to every single person. You can meet them where they are, because they all have an issue somewhere in their lives that is not serving them. There was a woman here in Portland. I had just come back from Mexico. I was cracked fucking open outside of the US bubble. I literally flew on a plane and landed in Portland. My girlfriend picked me up and we went to a bar to meet some other friends. And a woman was there, and she was not a part of our group, but she starts talking about, oh, how capitalism is so great and how it's done all these favors for people and how people are just so, like, you know, rude, basically, to think for themselves that capitalism isn't serving them. So I started asking questions. Like, I know she's boasting this because she's actually really uncomfortable with capitalism. It's not serving her somewhere. And I'm not sure where, so I can't really, like, take the knife in, if you will. So I wait for it. I keep probing. I keep asking questions. Well, how is it serving you? I mean, you're a female and you're being paid less than men, so I get into all of the things. And eventually she says, yeah, but you know what? That's because my sister is disabled. And my parents have been struggling day in and day out trying to provide for her because the government won't do anything to help them. And it's because my parents have worked their fucking ass off and have made a lot of money within capitalism that they're actually able to provide for her sister. So her sister was her point in. And I went with it. And I knew it was going to be painful, and I knew it was going to be really hard. But to be honest with you, I didn't even really think about it. This is just how I move and navigate. So when she opened up the sister door who's disabled, that the government isn't helping out with, that her parents are struggling to provide for, and are somehow magically doing it because they really are amazing. And she's trying to have their back. She wants to support her sister. So she thinks that the system that's holding this all together is helpful. And so I ask her, I say, does your sister have the same means and abilities to create the same level of success that you have within capitalism? And she said, no. I said, then why would you hold up a system that does not serve your sister? It doesn't serve her in any way, shape, or form, because she is not a human resource. In fact, she is a human burden. Isn't it possible she could have done so many other things with her life had she had government support? Isn't it possible another parent could have stayed home with her to help her become the woman that she probably is capable of becoming? Isn't it possible that your parents didn't have to struggle so hard because community and people and neighbors should have ought to have been helping out more in that situation? Isn't it possible that another way could have really served your parents, your sister, and you? Aren't you only successful in capitalism because you have every single thing that they want? She was defeated. In a moment. Slayed. Head knocked off. Because it was her truth. Her truth, not mine. I don't have that experience. That's not my truth. But everybody has their own. Everybody has their own truth and issue and thing that wound or trigger or whatever it is that will allow you to get in there to that thing that they're resisting, that thing that they don't want you in, that place they don't want you to go, that thing that they're denying and deflecting you for, is to protect the wound. It's to protect the I don't know and I'm scared. We all have been there, are going through it, right? So we can be more gentle. We can be more gentle. I see myself online more often being belligerent and obnoxious in people's faces. I can tell you I would never be that way for the most part with people who are sitting right in front of me, having a conversation with me. I see more clearly into the reasons why they feel that way. And generally speaking, we can relate on that. They just want it to be easier. They just want things to be more simple. They just want it to not be so complicated, and they just want things to be better for their children. And they just want, a job. People like to work, and they really want it to be meaningful. They want it to be something that contributes, that adds value to things. So affirm them. Affirm those things with them before you get into the thing that you don't agree on or the truth that you're trying to share. I think there is a lot of opportunity right now for us all to learn how to be better leaders, better at having conversations that are difficult. I think there is a huge opportunity right now for us to learn to reconnect in ways that will allow us to have dialogue, like real, true, meaningful dialogue, and go from there. Because what's happening, especially in this format, is a lot of fierce truth, fierce compassion. Wrathful compassion was a word that, or a phrase I saw yesterday. It was right on. There is this thing that we want to unleash. We want to unleash the goddess within all of us on humanity. We want to reveal her and share her truths and her wisdom with this planet so desperately, because we know that it is the thing that will help all of us. We know that tapping into our wisdom within our wombs and going within and expanding out in all directions and finding that inner solace and that inner space and that inner peace is where new seeds of thought and creation come from. And we know that because we are women, we are females, and we are the incarnate of goddess. So that gives us a lot of power. That gives us a lot of opportunity to reveal the truth. It gives us a lot of angles. We are so multifaceted. We are more than just linear, narrow-minded beings that patriarchy has taught us to be. There is truly like an opportunity for us to grow and expand and blossom and connect with the thing that we are and bring a new awareness to it. Bring a new level of truth and peace to it. The message that has come through more than any other message in the last 2 weeks is feed my children. Teach them how to care for me. Teach them about me. Let them know who I am. Show them. Let them see you. Let them know there's another way. Let them know the truth matters. The truth matters, and it's important you see all of these agendas for what they are, but that you do not engage and connect into them. No. That's what they want from you. The point is to see it from your eagle-eye view and then put it the fuck down so that you can respond appropriately from the place in which you have power. Right here. You do not have power out there because that is not your world. That's their illusion. We are here to break through all of that, to shine the light, to share our stories, to use our voices, and to make fucking way for something else to grow. But it's not our job ever to force it. It's not. It's not our job to force growth or to get in the way of someone else's natural growth. You know, I have definitely done that because I am intuitive and I see clairvoyantly, and I feel every fucking thing, and I see what's possible, and I look at the highest version of people, not their 3D egos more often than not. And so it's very challenging for me to remember that people get to come to their own truth in their own time. It's not our job to interfere or to get in the way of someone realizing it for themselves, taking away that aha moment or that realization that is the thing that spirals within and allows us to grow. So if you take that away from someone because you're blasting them like over and over with truths that they're not prepared to have, or they're not able to receive, or they just don't want, then you're really doing a disservice to yourself. You're doing a disservice to the message. You're doing a disservice to your mother. You're doing a disservice to the truth, because the truth will always reveal itself. And I hope that you will take that with you, that it will unfold and it will come undone and it will unfurl in its own way, because that's what it does. And it does need human co-creation. It does need activated souls and women, lovers, being, goddess, to do that work. That is our work right now. It's uncomfortable. It's challenging. I have felt isolated. I have felt alone. I have felt ostracized. I have felt attacked. I have been demeaned. I've taken a back seat. I've stopped. I've stayed silent. I've managed in all of the ways that we do to avoid being what we are. What we are, though, is the most powerful fucking thing on this planet, in all of the worlds, in all of the spaces, in all of the places, in every fucking possible imaginational thing that you could go to. This is her. This is all of her. And we are doing her work. We are activating her children. We are here to transmit this thing, this love, this peace, there's no words to describe her, right? And we know this. So our words in some ways are very limited. They don't do her justice. They never will touch on her capacity. They will never reach into the places that she can go. Like, infinity is it's a lot. It's a lot. And we get to be infinite beings right now. So if you can't do the work in this realm, in this 3D world right now, to be conscious and to be grounded and centered to speak your truth, maybe do your inner work instead. That's been my lesson in the last few years. When I'm outraged so much so that I've given myself appendicitis because I'm so angry that nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to hear the truth. And they will hurt you because you've spoken the truth. And I made myself sick. And from that place, I don't serve anyone. I was not in service to anybody. And I was probably doing a disservice to many. Carrying around that rage, carrying around that fire everywhere I went, burning myself out, burning others out, burning the spaces up. Literally. Like closing businesses down with my presence. Because they don't want me there. There was a guy I met in Las Vegas, probably the same year. And I had gotten off work at a bar really late at night, and I went with a friend at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and we went to the Spearmint Rhino in Las Vegas, which is a strip club. And At the time I was just there for a burger, and like I really accepted the fact that women were really beautiful. If they want to sell themselves, it's all good. So that was where I was at. Mind you, this was 12 years ago. So I'm sitting in this space. It's Las Vegas. It's Sin City. It is dark. It is the middle of the night. And I'm tired. I want to eat my hamburger and watch women and go home. And a man sat down next to me and we start talking, and he was a very well-known, I don't know if he was a prince or he was some part of some sort of royal family in Dubai. But he was like 19 or 20 in there with a fake ID. I've had all the Maseratis. I've driven all the cars. I've had all the money. I've had all the sex. I've had all of it. I'm only like 19 years old and I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. I don't want any of it. I don't want those women to come by. I don't want that car. I don't want to spend my money. There's got to be something more. And so we start talking. We're talking. And I'm basically thinking that I'm validating him. I'm affirming him. Yeah, man. Like, totally. Yeah, you got it, man. It's not about capitalism. It's not about that. No, right. And then all of a sudden he just stopped and he sat back in his chair. And again, these are these gifts when you've been doing the work for so long and you don't know why you're even doing it. You don't even know why you're trying to cause waves or conflict and challenge people in these ways, because it just like, I can't keep my fucking mouth shut. And I want to keep my mouth shut and and just sit here and be in my space. And he looks at me and he says, Starla, how did you do it? How did I do what? How did you break through? You are the light. And you broke through the darkest fucking place on the planet. Sin City. Vegas, the dark, a strip club, middle of the night. It doesn't really get much darker. I've been working in bars and cult-like establishments that want to tell 18-year-old kids to go get guns and shoot themselves. I've been facing off with that kind of energy for the last 15 years. Cutting it down, showing it who's boss, showing it that I'm not scared, showing it that I'm not afraid. In fact, I will crush you. Show yourself, bitch. That's where I'm at. That's the place that I am in this now moment. I carried Durga. I carried Kali. I am a warrior, queen, goddess till the end. I will keep speaking the truth. I will keep sharing the truth. I have chosen now not to do it in those old ways. Reaching 100 people a night, one-on-one, for a very long time was very good work. And now I hope to do it 1,000 people a day to get this truth out. They're going to censor us. They're going to silence us. They're going to take away our ads. They're going to take away all of the ways in which we move to reach people. I have never once advertised on this website or on this page for likes and approval from you all. I have never advertised or boosted my posts to gain more likes. I did that when I first started this page before I knew better. So maybe like the first 300 of you or 400 of you or so were from that. It's important we bring in the people that will listen to us, who can receive, who want to receive, who are open to receive what you have for them. Don't be knocking on and beating on the doors of the people who don't want you there. Don't be knocking and beating on the doors, going into groups and situations out there where people are talking crazy and trying to prove something to somebody. Occasionally that's warranted though, and I will say that because I found that happening for me a few times, and I'd be like, what am I doing? And then like the next week I ran into a woman who was on that thread who was like, oh my God, you blew my mind. Like oh my God. And I knew like that there was somebody listening and somebody was paying attention and needed that from me that day. But that's not generally the way that I work. So I'm asking you all to really unleash her. Unleash her from the paradigm, the patriarchy, the misogyny, the sexism. I need you to unfurl and take yourself out of this structural fucking thing that men in patriarchy have created to contain us. I need you to be willing to be wild. Do not let them tame you. This is the time to really like fly out of your comfort zones. It's this time to really like shake up things for yourself. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to find all of these new truths are going to bubble up for you, and you're going to have the support and the people and everything that you need come together in a way to hold this new truth that we know and are ready to receive in its fullness and in its wholeness, and it's time for that. So I'm activating, and I hopefully am transmitting. I hope that I am firing up and igniting your kundalini. I hope that I am in some ways shaktifying your root to begin to ascend up, right? To help us all reach this new world, this new paradigm, this world that she is. And we give thanks. And we stay in gratitude. We've been so blessed with the truth. It's our responsibility to share it willingly. It's time to rise, Queen. Unleash her. Get out of your own way. Reach the masses. Get out in the streets. Write your book, write your articles, make your videos, do your work. I'm here with you. I am in solidarity in like the biggest fucking way. I will always have your back. I got you. Whoever's seen this video, just know that this one woman right here has got you. Love wins. Love wins. Hold that vision and that at the forefront of your awareness. And then you fucking let them have it. Let them have all of you. Relentlessly. Wildly. Unhinge yourself. Come undone. Unleash. You are not a pet. You are not a slave. You are a free sovereign being. Share your truth. Be the truth. And just know it will reveal itself. And everything will be more than okay. It's what we've been waiting for. These are our times. And like Clarissa, our good mentor, told us, we were made, we were prepared, and we remember who we are to bring to these times. If you've watched, if you've shared this video, thank you. If you haven't, you're seeing this for the first time, I ask that you share this video. I've never actually done that before. But this isn't a message that should go astray. This message is one that matters. It matters. And I hope that you will share it, and I hope that you will find your way here to this page more often for support and for the guidance and the resources. Of course, you are always welcome to share anything that you find on this page. Make sure people see what we're doing here. We are doing good work. We are doing her work. Just stay true to yourself. Just stay true to the truth. We don't have to fight for it. And we don't have to beat people down for it. They will see it in their own time. They will process, and they will find us when they're ready. And until then, we just keeping on. Keep it moving. Power to you all. Power to the women. I love you. Blessings.